Doug Franklin with you again, talking about Act, Love, Walk. We're talking about session 3 today, giving you some teacher notes on some things you really want to be focused on when it comes to this session. Again, we've got the 5 sections here in our small groups that we want to focus on. Some debriefing questions from the large group to make sure we tie that into our small group. Really important to be able to do. And ask good follow-up questions as you ask these questions. Students might give you some simple answers. Feel free to, go a little deeper. Ask them, well, what does that mean to you? Or how does that look like? What does that look like in your life? Or how are you going to live that out? I think tying the large group to the small group is so important for us as small group leaders. Also here we have the second look, a good story that illustrates what it means to walk humbly with God. Maybe it's a good point here to stop and talk about that. We want to make sure that we talk here about a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's what it means to walk humbly with God. It means that it's a relationship. It's not a ritual. It's not just about going to church or doing what your parents say or anything else. It's about you and God. Do you know each other? I like to ask students this when I'm teaching a passage like this. I like to ask them, if they were to meet Jesus, would it be something like this? Hi, Jesus. Nice to meet you. I'm Doug. Or would it be, hi, Father. I'm so glad to see you, and it would be a big hug. Because the difference between those two things is a relationship. One, they're just acquaintances. That's why they would shake hands. They hug if they're in a relationship. Ask your students, if they met Jesus today, face to face, what kind of encounter would that be? And this is a great place to really challenge our students when we go into this second look. Do they have a real relationship with Christ? Is there two-way communication? Are they talking? Is it affecting how they behave, their relationship with Christ? One, see if they have one. And if they don't, share the good news of Jesus Christ with them. Two is, if they have one, is it growing? And what's causing the growth? And it's a great chance to talk about, what does it mean to be a disciple of Christ? After all, this is our DNow event, and so we want to be able to do that. In the Go Deeper, there's some great passages. I want to read one of the passages to you because it's such an important passage, I believe. It's 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn away from their wicked ways, then when I hear from heaven, I will forgive their sins and I will heal their land. This passage, I think, talks about what does it mean to have a relationship with Christ if we're far away from him. And I think this is a passage you can really challenge students with in this session. And so I really encourage you. There's a couple of great passages. That's one that I think can really go deep. And it starts with them crying out to God. It starts with them reaching out to him. And I think that's something we can challenge students with in this session. In fact, the next session goes into more deeply a relationship with Christ. But I think this is a great place to start some of those challenges. There's also a great live it out here where you get a rope and they're all standing and holding the rope and they try to make different shapes. The idea is to ask them, when do they disengage? What causes them to disengage? And do any of those things happen in their relationship with Christ? When do they disengage? How does it happen? I think this live it out is a great chance for them to understand, oh yeah, there's certain times in my life when I disengage with Christ. When are those times? I need a warning sign. I need an accountability partner. I need somebody that can help me through those difficult times. And there's a great application section here. I think this is a great place to make some applications with people who either don't know Christ or who do know Christ on steps where they can grow deeper. And then, of course, there's a student devotional that they can use as well, too. This session is all about a relationship with Christ. I think this is where you begin to hone in. It's not just a cool saying anymore, act, love, walk. It's about practical applications in their lives to live as disciples of Christ, to say, I have chosen to follow him, and if I'm following him, it means he's in the lead, and I am following in his footsteps. And I think for our students, when we talk about walking humbly with God, we're walking in his very footsteps. We're following him, and he is our leader, and we take our direction from him. I think this will be a really great challenging session for you. I pray that it will be very powerful in the lives of students. And I want to really encourage you to challenge students on their relationship with Christ.